buy it.
No, I'm busy like typing out the things to say. Yeah. Before we go on, let's go back. Hello.
And we're live. And for some reason, it wasn't playing the video, but now it is.
Yeah, give it time. It's YouTube. Yeah, do this like this and do something like this. No, wait, where's my, there's my chat. Okay, now where's the Zoom call? Okay, there we go. Rearranging the other monitor. And now I'm like, hey, don't mind me. It's like, welcome to the second Sunday of the month, and welcome to the Alchemy Bench. It's the same regular e-breakers of like, Jock Brown, the asshole and cat. Now he was an asshole before he became a cat as well. Let's all remember that. But like he wants to be a full asshole because he gets irritated when we say that he's only kind of an asshole.
I
Uh,
try.
I mean, he's a cishet white man, so of course he's going to like definitely be more than of an asshole as well too. And me, some renegade, of course, like the dirty non-binary. And Isaiah just joined us, but also the second Sunday month, so we're joined by our patrons. So we're joined by our patrons, Ely and Joe. Hello, welcome in, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Let me block out this line right away.
Yes, exactly. Block out the sun.
I'm doing
Forget the
good.
sun.
Yeah,
Uh,
the sun has finally started to appear. Let's block it out.
We don't need the sun.
Since the beginning
No.
of time, man has longed to block out the sun.
I don't
Okay.
mind. I don't mind natural light. It's just our apart. It's just this apartment is so badly designed that the only windows in my apartment are these windows here that I just blocked out. So you have in order not to have that weird glare like I just did, like we just had, I have to block it out.
all this work to stop the daylight that we just spent an hour to save.
Yes, exactly. This is our
Yeah.
protest. Okay, only for those in like USA, for as far as I know, because like Europe and everywhere else and stuff like that, they were just like, "Why the hell are you starting so early?" You're just like, it was
We
Blood
were,
George
suppo-
W.
we,
Go.
we were supposed to stop having daylight savings time last year, I think, and it's just been postponed and postponed and postponed because it doesn't really have an impact on electricity consumption anyway, and it's
Yeah.
stupid and confusing. Uh,
And it's just another way for our elites to control us.
Kind of. Yeah, I know.
It's kind of like how our schools are in the spring and fall and take off for the summer. Because the mind is like a fallow field. You plant the seeds in the spring, you harvest them in the fall, and you wait during the summer. And yes, that is exactly why we do this. It's literally a metaphor for farming.
I mean,
because they needed the kids
it's
to-
not
People just believe
because
stupid
it's,
things.
it's not just because it's a metaphor for farming. It was because when schools first started, parents wouldn't send their children during the farming season because they need
No, that
during the
means that
busiest-
we should have it in the summer and the winter, and we should give them the spring and fall off.
I thought there was a lot of planting in the summer as well, or a
No,
lot
there's
of work
planting
in
year
the
round.
summer as well.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know.
our schools are actually our schools are designed as prisons in a way.
Mm-hmm. If you can survive all 12 years of education, then you'll be a good, quiet, obedient worker. And we'll give you lots and lots of patriotic indoctrination.
Yes.
the whole discourse around school children, especially in America, being disrespectful and illiterate and whatever else people say really annoys me. It's like they're still kids. There was COVID and then there's school shootings. no shit if children lag behind at school and also
Mhm.
underfunding and
Well, you gotta remember too, Ellie, like our education system is really bad in a lot of ways, even before COVID was bad. So, yeah.
it just annoys me. It's like you blame you blame everything else, then the root of the problem is that the school system fails students.
Well, that's what
Mhm.
we do. We blame other people for our problems. We're not gonna take responsibility, are we? No.
I'm pretty sure our schools are failing because of Palestinian anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh my goodness. That and people
Although,
not treating frozen embryos as people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
although
It's very important.
aren't
Do
Hey,
Palestinians
Phoenix.
Semitic?
uh, 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 do frozen embryos need to go to public school, or do they need to be homeschooled?
Up to the parents, unfortunately.
Probably homeschooled.
Yeah, but are they going to sit behind the freezer and read to them?
Yeah, homeschooling, which is like I can see that as very useful and like well, that there are some kids that like have parents that are entertainers, so they travel all around the world and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Then there's other kids that are entertainers as well. So those people are homeschooled, and like it seems to work out fine for them as well too. But like when like extremely religious cultist people that like want to like indoctrinate their children in a very specific way and stuff like that, and so they will homeschool their children that way. It's like but I don't think like I don't know. It's like I haven't done enough research on homeschooling itself and see if like just that is the problem, or it's like there's other things like that's a more specific problem. And yes, like I agree, Phoenix. Like capitalism is at fault somewhere else. And Archie is correct in that downward capitalism, which
yeah.
which
I,
the
I, you did see the link Phoenix posted in the Discord.
yes I did.
Yeah,
After I should finish sharing around the link to like all the subreddit channels, I will like share that Tumblr post as well as like Phoenix's links
yeah.
and because yeah, I don't have extra money right now. I'm actually charged my credit card up to this max limit already last night to like give money to like Joanna. It was only 35, and so like yeah, everyone Phoenix needs like $185 by tomorrow, or else like their internet will be shut off. It's actually not so promoted there. I did. Okay. But speaking of capitalism, like is it as I say, I remember like on Facebook a while ago, you kind of like asked which is like better for like autistic people, like
Yeah.
communism or capitalism.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I was attempting to like, because I know like I asked this question kind of on Reddit sometimes to autism, like I guess like Redditors or subreddits on Reddit, and I asked the question, and it was actually it was fairly like kind of like uniform that they were most of them were like Leninist Marxists,
Mm.
or there were some of those. There were some who argued that both like both capitalism and communism in their pure forms weren't that good. So it was quite a mix, honestly.
Okay, so capitalism is pure form. Yes, I agree. That's like horrible anyway, because like I'm also of the opinion that like most any form of capitalism, in some degree or another, is like horrible. But like every what's communism in its pure form though, which I
Oh,
uh,
I would say the same thing about capitalism. Even from the beginning, it was based on a competition-based market economy that didn't exist because when it started, there were already a bunch of people that owned all the land. So it couldn't have started from a flat playing field, which is the only way, in theory, it could work.
Would you say that because since Adam Smith wrote Wealth of Nations, would you argue that Adam Smith actually talked about, you know, the means of production being held by private ownership, or like, or as opposed to the monarchy. Was he writing? Did he write that book to basically say that the people should the should own the means of production as opposed to like the monarchy? Because that's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
I haven't actually read any of his
Yeah.
of his
And given when he
stuff
was
on
writing,
it.
he wasn't going to be talking about the means of production or the people
Yeah.
owning it.
Yeah,
Communism
it's
hadn't brought that up
it's
yet.
quite
You
it's
guys know,
quite possible that he was against what do you call it, a the that particular hierarchy of the nobles and the monarchs, and wanted to put forth the political power of the the merchants that were a class that as capitalism grew gained political power that they just did not have beforehand. But
well, the
it's
the Dutch, I think I think created the first capitalist society, like at least somewhat capitalist society, was like the Dutch or something, and
Well,
that's
it emerged gradually, piecemeal, all across Europe. You got bits and pieces of the system being put together across the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries. You get trading networks getting built up across land and sea, merchants gradually turning into banks, developing systems of credit, things like that. Towns started to accrue more and more power. You started to get the bourgeoisie as a recognizable class. I mean, it just all happened everywhere. No one place did it all at once.
yeah.
yeah, you could definitely say what do you call it? Your example of the Dutch did a lot to promote the ability to essentially buy into the lawmaking in that. Well, in England, the essentially how it grew was a lot of the traders could buy armies and enforce their things that way, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
so having control of the monopoly on force certainly is a form of politics.
It's just all very interesting, like studying these two concepts, because either way, you have to, like, as an autistic person, as an autistic person of color, you have to like live in one of these systems, and it's just like, being that you know being that likely descendants from slaves, where our wealth was likely taken away from us. It's like, how could you then be a capitalist you if you were born if your people were enslaved and all their wealth was taken, and not only that, but they weren't even allowed to build up wealth even after they were released from bondage, and the only thing they got to show for is medial working class labor. Why would you want to be a capitalist if that system in the past has ruthlessly curtailed your ability to move forward? That's my
To a large degree, they didn't.
Yeah,
the
and
whole thing about the neo-Nazis saying the Jews are using the blacks as labor to destroy the white man is because a lot of black people read communist stuff and said, you know what, that sounds really awesome.
so I it because like, yeah, like the whole like history, like studying the Cold War and whatnot is just very fascinating, because like I'm actually watching a show called For All Mankind. It was about if the
What if the
Russians.
communists had won every single
Yeah,
part of the space race instead of almost
right.
all of it?
Right, and one of the episodes in the first season dealt with the Lavender Scare. If anyone doesn't know what the
Mm.
Lavender Scare is, that was
It-
there were
That was the reason why there was so much controversy about the Jellicoe-Wellico Space Telescope.
James Webb Space Telescope. I
No,
don't know if you.
Jellicoe-Wellico. I refuse to call it by that guy's name because
Okay.
the people who put that name on there were assholes.
And
I
I
mean,
just
he was probably just somewhat okay for his time, but they just screwed around with NASA policy and for some reason decided to name it after this random dude.
I just I'm just always wondering, okay, but like what does being an astronaut, what does being heterosexual have to do with being an astronaut and working at NAT?
Well,
I
because homosexuals are deviants and perverts who corrupt children and summon Satan with their
no they
precious
don't.
bodily fluids.
No
No,
they
but
Yeah,
don't.
that's
that's what they say.
that is really honestly what they believed, and
That,
even the more liberal ones, because liberals aren't actually, but the more progressive people at the time, they thought, well, even if there's nothing particularly wrong with it, it is still illegal, and that makes them prone to blackmail by these communists.
But I'm sure the
So
communists had gay folks.
they did, and what's his name, Lenin,
Oh,
decriminalized homosexuality,
I
and
wait.
then Stalin recriminalized it because he wanted to unite his government with the church.
What were you trying to say, Alan?
there was a point I wanted to make about sort of communism because I don't think authoritarian communism is good for anyone, let alone disabled people,
No.
because
Nope,
it's
definitely not.
yeah, it's uh, horrendous things happen to disabled people in the USSR and like the sort of territories that were occupied by the USSR, like in the what was that? Romania. Do you remember the news from? Or maybe I don't know if you if you got those pictures of those orphanages.
No, we
Like
didn't. No, we didn't know
No
about
idea.
that.
no, there
Um,
in my country there came out a lot of after the. Uh, I don't remember if it was before or after the fall of of the Berlin Wall that came out all of these documentaries about orphanages where people had just dumped their children, disabled or not, and it was quite sort of horrible.
Yeah, we have bumped
Fucking hell,
into
Google.
a few. We have bumped into a few examples of Romanian orphanages and the trauma caused by the way they were run
yeah.
at the mental hospital that I work at. It is very sad.
It was horrendous. It was understaffed, and its children were just confined to their beds all the time. Some of them were even sort of tied up.
Yeah, and understaffed with and the staff was
Not
not
trained.
was not well compensated. So
Yeah.
the majority of the staff were either uh, those that truly cared for kids so much that they were willing to get next to nothing, or those that took that job because they wanted to abuse children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, but the sad thing is that the same conditions of those Russian, no, Romanian orphanages also existed in Europe, like 30 years before all the stuff came out about the Romanian orphanages. That existed in Denmark, for instance. Children were also tied up in beds in asylums for disabled people. Um, and we also, the Danish state lobotomized a lot of people
Mhm.
against their will and sterilized them, and it was quite horrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I will just
It's always eugenics.
yeah, I will just say that communism it doesn't directly address ableism, and that's
True.
something that we need to address sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, people tend to just say like, "Oh, if we had communism, everything would be perfect for everyone," and that's not necessarily true, I don't think.
It would give us the opportunity, but we would still have to work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we had a society that lived up to the tenets that that communism is supposed to aspire to, of course. But then again, if we had a society that lived up to the tenets that capitalism or democracy or even, like any of those stuff, it would be a lot better than it is now.
The
Um,
problem with capitalism is well, there's a lot of problems with it, but I think the main problem is that it's always going to be seated with like a pre a pre-positioned elite class that's always going to see people who they don't like as always as like below them. So you can then make the capitalist system cater to the upper class and never the lower class. And that's just you notice that like as a black man, like historically we were slaves and all this, and then when we wanted to get rights, it was tarred as they're a bunch of communists. It's not
Well,
really
the the system exchanges money for power, and because you need some of that power to like eat, uh, to actually gain essentially just more authority or more leeway with your other super wealthy people, you have to extract more and more and more. More
yeah.
people have to starve because, Bezos wants to have a dick measuring contest with Elon.
with the penis-shaped spaceships.
It's well past the amount of money they could ever spend not only on themselves but for their legacy in any real amount, but also having more money than the other one is a thing that they can do to exert power over the other one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Jeff
But they had to
Bezos.
spend it on philanthropy so that we don't
Yeah.
come after them with the guillotines.
Oh, well,
That's why
so-
they don't spend it on golden palaces like Donald Trump. Because Trump is a stupid person's version of a rich person.
Why a golden toilet? Why do you need a golden toilet? It's just like, do you need your shit to also have like gold flakes as it goes down? What?
There are a lot of stories from the uh, early part of capitalism when essentially it was switching over from the power was switching over from the nobility to uh, people who had
Bourgeoisie.
money. Yeah.
The capitalists.
And a lot of it was a bunch of people who had been nobles, and because they were nobles, they started out with a bunch of money because, once again, they owned all the land beforehand. But they were not like skilled at ways to maintain and make money, so they would uh, uh, essentially still want to live their lifestyle even though they weren't making the money, and uh they would like go out of their way to make themselves look richer than they were during that period, and talks about marrying into these big families and all that. And that's always the feeling that I get, like Donald Trump is capitalism's version of that, where so much of it is showing is the fact that is just covering up the fact that he probably doesn't actually have that much money.
No, he definitely does not. What kind of motherfucker can't make money off a casino?
I have the best casino with the best numbers.
It is so huge, and it's just like yeah, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah,
The opposite of the Midas touch.
What do you call it? I know there was some talk of Romney being very selective as to which tax returns he gave out because he knew he made embarrassingly rich person purchases that made him look bad and alienated him from his base.
Oh,
like
I
his
mean,
car
the fact that he's
elevator.
walking around saying, hey, corporations are people, friend. That
but
did too.
but the fact that Trump refused to release anything to the people, and like the fact that he's so gaudy, like pretty much meant that one of two things was true. It's just he was hiding tax evasion, which could definitely also be a thing, but
He was also
more
hiding the fact
likely,
that he
I
didn't
think,
have that much money and he was
that he
committing
doesn't
fraud.
actually have as much money as he, like it would destroy the mystique if it, was actually shown that, oh no, he's just massively in debt. Like he's not.
Is it just me, or are wealthy people just really bad with money? I've seen more like these days.
Well, I mean, not all of them, but
Yeah.
when you have access, when you are part of that club, you can get so much credit that if you are not a disciplined person, it is amazingly easy to get like unforgivably in debt.
It's just like I'm just like noticing all these like old boomer folks just giving away all their money to Trump. It's like, why are you doing this?
Oh, I mean, part of
And
that
they
might
feel
be worried.
represented at all bigoted farts.
I guess.
Yeah, and part of that could be that their kids have all made it clear that they hate them because of the way they are acting, since Trump has revealed their inner selves to them.
Yeah.
So Ellie, I don't know if you guys, so Ellie, I don't know if you keep up with American politics, but
That's unavoidable.
yeah, if you watched our State of the Union last night,
I didn't.
especially the rebuttal to it, okay, first of all, what did everyone think about that rebuttal to the State of the Union? Did anyone
I,
see that?
Wasn't
haven't
it Thursday?
Yeah, it was Thursday when the State of the Union happened. But I haven't seen the State of the Union itself, and I know that like Marjorie Taylor Greene was like heckling Biden during that, and so it's like
And apparently,
I
Ron DeSantis had some sort of plan. And according to Stephen Colbert, Biden was very angry.
He was Irish.
Yeah.
His Irish came out.
I was gonna say I saw clips. He was like he definitely had prepped. He did a good speech.
Yeah.
It's-
But
I
our
just
leader,
wish it
our
wasn't
leader
Biden.
is sick and demented, and this cannot stand
I just wish it wasn't Biden running.
something.
I would want someone else for you who was a bit more progressive and a bit younger and a bit sort of not quite so pro.
Genocide?
honestly,
Inside.
honestly, any of those three would be an improvement.
Yeah.
It would
I'm
Like
both
not
for
even
all
necessarily all three, just one of those three would be nice.
it would be nice, but a lot of old people still run our shit. So even if a young person did want to run and they started saying, "Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that," you'll have a bunch of boomers just saying, "Oh, you're being a communist."
I
To keep
really
using that
don't-
word.
I really don't like the talks about banning TikTok, and not because I love TikTok, but because I don't think they're banning TikTok to keep people safe. I think they're banning TikTok to keep information about Palestine from
Yeah.
from,
Would-
from people. And
Well,
I
that,
don't like
well,
that.
yeah, that's
If
basically
we ban TikTok, we won't be able to see the Jewish soldiers celebrating their genocide.
yeah, well, that's basically
Oh my
the
goodness.
thing. They're talking about it being safety, but it's all about censoring the Palestinian voices because
and anti-China. It really is about being anti-China because like what Tom Cotton or the other Republicans were like screaming at TikTok for. Mark Zuckerberg and like the Twitter and those other platforms. Well, maybe not Twitter. They didn't. I don't know. They had Elon Musk on the stand.
why would
Uh,
China need TikTok to spy on us? They already have balloons for that.
All they have to do is register. They just got to buy the info from Facebook.
Yeah, that's it.
I,
We get
I
shit is made in China all the time. They already have us by the balls anyway. Why do they need to like spy on us through TikTok for that?
I also have a problem with keeping like teenagers off of social media because I know there's a lot of misinformation, but there's also information that lets and teenagers they start to develop their own political compass at that age, and and prohibiting them from being on social media is really just sort of trying to control what they think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I
Uh,
don't like that.
Well, most
it,
people might know that. That's the thing.
and
Yeah.
the funny thing is, I'm not even against Congress coming forward and regulating social media companies,
I think they should
especially
nationalize them.
especially over the like data security and selling to kids kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
No, yeah.
that is reasonable, but that's
Yes.
Yes.
not what's coming through in the bill. It's just stuff about a foreign country doing it, and it's
Yeah.
it's not it's not better that Mark Zuckerberg is doing it because he is also selling that information to foreign countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. It- then they should ban all social
Yeah,
media.
yeah, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a yeah, and like even though I'm still behind on my podcast by a month is only that, but it is an incident that happened on like the UK, like terrible horrible murder happened of like a teenager by teenagers, and in the conversation there was like a social media and the conversation of like at least like not necessarily kicking teenagers off of social media, but like safeguarding it, or is like having the parents have like an app too or something like that. My issue with there's nuanced conversation to be had about that, because like I think it's like good attentive parents should be aware of what their children are doing, but there's also a lot of terrible parents that are transphobic, for example, and social media being an outlet for kids to discover themselves, like discover their queer, discover their trans, and stuff like that, is very useful. Which is why I also don't want to like ban kids off of social media for that reason too. And like, it's like, I don't know. It's just like I don't.
I
Parents have yeah, parents having control over their kids is a problem as well too, or it can be a
I
problem for sure.
I, I also there's a lot of on TikTok about like keeping children safe and not showing them off and stuff, and I agree to a very sort of to a far extent, but there's a certain extent where it's like if it's a picture of a child wearing like a ski suit and there's someone who has taken those pictures and and uh, and sort of fear mongering about predators using those pictures for something, I kind of think it goes a bit overboard at
Yeah.
that point. It's just like it's just kind of it feels kind of victim blamey to me to say, oh,
Hmm.
any picture of your child will be used, and it's like, but then it's like it's just I just feel like it feels a bit sort of victim blamey to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's on the predators. It's on the people who prey on children that that's their behavior that is wrong. It's not like just showing a picture of a child that's fully dressed. It's just like should we hide children away forever? I don't like that.
I bet there are some that do want to hide children away forever. There's definitely already some people that like think that like people shouldn't be on social media until you're like 16 or something like that, and it's like what you want like a kids off of the internet forever, it's like and have them have boring lives until they're finally able to get on the internet. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what they want.
yeah. I just kind of feel like it feels like we're walling off children from from like any information that could sort of make them disagree with their parents.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah, I know, but it's just pretty disturbing and pretty sort of like, and I know
Yeah.
that I might have another perspective because I live in a relatively safe country where we also have sort of different standards towards sort of like it's not uncommon in Denmark to go onto a beach and see children running around without their clothes on, and there isn't anything sexual about it. It's just that they're bathing. And I think it's kind of, of course, if you did take pictures, that would be a problem. But it's just like,
You just shouldn't
it's
take
just,
pictures of other people's kids, regardless of their state of dress.
yeah,
That's fair.
that
Just
would be
weird.
yeah, that would be
Kind of
weird.
creepy
Yeah,
there.
yeah. But it's just that it's just different sort of. I come from a sort of different approach to things in comparison with the United States. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where we have a
We're Americans, so we do shit the hard way in this country.
yeah, but still, I just kind of feel like it becomes a bit sort of blaming the parents for like exposing their children to predators for like very innocent pictures. I don't like that. That's just my
Yeah.
yeah. There are nuances to this. There's a lot of nuance. But I will also say that if you know that there's a predator following you, then you should um, sort of take precautions, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So yeah, the State of the Union. There's like someone in the Discord I'm in that says like, oh, you should listen to this because like Biden's laying out his like policies for the next year or his next 4 years if he gets reelected, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm have high standards. What I would want the Democrats are never going to do. So that's one thing. Part of me does want to listen to the State of the Union or to, like watch it as I stream it and then like give my critiques on it. Uh, Probably it'll just like make me more upset as like there's little mention of like the things that I would want, or there'll be mention of things as like, oh, we're finally going to do a $15 minimum wage. When now? Even you get like a $15 minimum wage and you only work 40 hours a week, you're still poor.
yeah,
But yeah,
but is that something he has promised? And
in the past he has mentioned it once.
Yeah.
So I guess we're at the time where I should tell you what Florida's doing.
No, why not? Yes.
Okay. Well, I have my microphone, so what's going
I
on?
have my microphone.
This is my floor. I have the one I talked to oh shit. Right here, so it's causing an avalanche of shit to fall on it. But no, okay. So, hello, my name is Isaiah Taylor, and I'm your Florida correspondent for the Social Justice Alchemy channel. And in this segment, I talk about all the ways Florida is showing its ass. So our 2024 legislative session had just ended. We, I think, had around 2,000 bills in the legislature. Most of those were about, I guess, stuff. Of course, the really boring stuff no one really talks about, but it's always the stuff that causes some controversy. So, restricting access for trans people, restricting abortion access, removing homeless people and homeless encampments from public streets, and to top it all off, teaching communism to kids. They also decided to reduce water breaks for workers. And he also thinks that children should be able to work at age 14. And of course, another thing that they did was they decided to roll back the gun laws or the gun regulations that were put in place following the Parkland massacre. That massacre, Parkland, it happened in 2017. Valentine's Day, a man named Nicholas Cruz went into Marjorie Strongman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, killed 17 people. and this was the catalyst for the March of Our Lives, which was
Yes.
yeah. So okay, preamble out the way. Basically, what they did was they were like, we need to lower the restrictions for these gun laws that we put in place from the previous massacre because, and this is what Bubba said, well, every law-abiding American can defend their house in the Second Amendment, okay? So we need everyone to have guns, okay? Because we're law-abiding citizens, okay? You know,
Mm-hmm.
South Park, yeah. So
Yes.
so that's basically what it was. Florida was showing its ass. Nothing about the rising rent cost of housing insurance. Nothing about that. But everything was just about hurting people, gay folks, trans folks, women, minorities. Of course, I think they also had a law where they were going to put in like fines for vandalizing Confederate statues.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so. Hurricanes, do what you want.
Uh,
Although the good thing, hold on, one last part. The good thing about living in the South, since a lot of people like to defend Confederate monuments down here, that's fine. They can do that. But there's only but one exception. You have to agree that hurricanes are the spirits of dead slaves that continue to rise the Kings are okay. So it's like you guys got your Confederate monuments. Cool, cool. I'll work with you on that.
They're participation trophies.
But whenever hurricanes hit the South, those are our dead ancestors ravaging the South. So so I could be a jackass too and say, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that is true.
mm-hmm.
Because a lot of slaves actually jumped off the boats, so they didn't have to come here and be in bondage. So all those hurricanes are like our dead ancestors just ravaging the South. So
Yes.
I love it.
The calling Confederate statues the secessionist participation trophies is very funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I, I just remembered something I read on X about the statue of Margaret Thatcher getting vandalized
Mm-hmm.
by someone writing bastard, an old lady writing bastard.
And Metro's not even here. I wonder if he's going to show up at like noon my time and be like when like social South is normally on for his time as well too. I'm sorry, Metro. The USA is stupid, and like we roll back like we spring forward by an hour before the rest of the world is. It's yet Arizona doesn't, Hawaii doesn't. They don't need to, honestly. They get enough sun.
No one
And-
needs to because it doesn't
No one
give
needs
us more
to.
sun.
It changes nothing.
And it doesn't save on like fuel or electricity.
It just makes things worse for everyone. There's more accidents
ruins-
the day after the
Ruins
change.
workers' mental health.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know if it actually did work when it was implemented.
I honestly think that like I heard it before, not sure if it's true, but I think like Benjamin Franklin likes to suggested it as a joke.
There's reason to believe that if the goal was to save lamp oil, changing it at the times that they changed it probably did. Probably.
Probably. But then again, it wasn't implemented until like the 20th century at some point, and also like they did normally do it in April. George W. just wanted to like show that he could turn the clocks back a little bit by like having it like 3 weeks earlier, and it happened in March, and then it happened 1 week later, and like at the end of November instead of the third week in November.
Denmark has only been doing it since about
October.
the 1970s.
After failing to spearhead adding uh, after failing to spearhead a congressional stop to gay marriage moving forward, he decided to turn back the clocks in a more literal way.
Yeah, probably one of the worst presidents ever because, like, he is done. We are so
Hey,
filled with
there's
that-
stiff competition for that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
serious
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
competition for that. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, and Jojo, the key to voting is you have to vote blue no matter who, because they're the good
Yeah.
guys.
I'm actually
Oh.
I'm so disincentivized by Joe Biden. I actually may just I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna vote, obviously, but I'm just like I may just write it in someone's name. But I know
be like
for Mickey
uncommitted.
Mouse.
no, I'm gonna vote for Cher Horowitz.
Say if your primary hasn't gone through yet, and you plan to vote on it for someone else, on one of the lower races that has a primary, uncommitted is a good choice. That's what I plan to do when my primary comes up.
Oh yeah, that's I got my ballot
But-
for left my primary.
Can you actually choose another nominee for president when there is an incumbent president?
I
Uh,
mean, I think there's still somebody on the ticket. I think
Technically, the primary
think
system
Williams
would allow
is
you to
still
choose someone.
Yes.
Practically speaking, no.
because
Biden didn't even
because
bother campaigning in New Hampshire, and he still got 2/3 of the votes.
there are some states that just that had the primary for other reasons and didn't even bother putting Biden on the ballot because they knew that state didn't matter for the thing and wasn't going to put forth another president.
Yeah, that's the problem with the
What
primaries.
happens, what, what happens, and this is either of them, what happens if they get elected and they die?
The running mate, but like
Yeah. Yeah, what happens if Biden dies while he's president?
Then Kamala Harris would become the president. The 26th Amendment laid out the succession, not 26th,
Yeah.
25th.
25th, laid out the succession very clearly. If Biden dies, then it's Kamala Harris. If she's dead, then it's the Speaker of the House. If he's dead, then it's the President pro tempore of the Senate, and so on.
Wasn't the 26th, I believe, was the one that implicitly put them on the same ticket, that the vice president used to be the runner-up in the race for presidency.
No, I mean, the vice president did used to be the runner-up, but they changed that in, like, 1800.
Oh, was it?
I agree, John P. Both Boo and still get screwed, and like yet the liberals will just say, "Well, that's a choice that we have." It's just like
We're
it's
better
so
than them. We'll be quiet about our concentration camps, okay?
Yep. No. That's like the liberals are quiet about their
Ah.
concentration camps. It is, and I have my ballot like right here for the Democrats. It's like Joseph R. Biden Jr., Dean Phillips, Marianne Wilson. Remember her? And then uncommitted delegates is
Yeah. I believe Phillips has dropped out, and in most states because of that, even if he was going to win, and he's not going to.
yeah.
It wouldn't count because he had formally resigned from the running.
Oh, good for you, Lasifia.
Who's Trump's running mate? Is that they don't know yet?
They don't normally they don't announce
They don't decide. They don't announce until
General.
after the primaries.
Yeah. Because sometimes like their running mate will be like someone from the primary race of some kind.
I believe Biden has committed that it's going to still be Harris, but I don't remember for sure. I'm not positive on that.
It's almost certainly going to be Harris.
Yeah.
I've heard something about Marjorie Taylor Greene being or wanting to be Trump's running mate. I really hope she doesn't.
I hope she does. Stupid and
Yeah.
crazy on a single ticket? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh. And what do you call it? That would have the upside of if the Democrats don't botch the presidential election, not only would she not be the vice president, but she would also not be a representative for at least 2 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because if she goes for the running for vice president, she can't also be in running for her place in the House.
Oh, okay.
So I got them my primary ballot, and but I have to make a one-part declaration. But I wonder, can I actually vote for the Republican party nominee? Even though I don't know if it will matter anyway, because on the Republican it's still Chris Christie, even though I think he dropped out. Ron DeSantis, even though he dropped out. Nikki Haley, no, she's in on the running. Vivek Ramaswamy, fuck that guy anyway.
Ooh, he's worse.
Did he
I think he
bow
did
out?
drop out. Yeah, and he's aiming to be even in Trump's cabinet, honestly, or if not the Trump's cabinet, some kind of far right wing fascist media personality as well too.
I think DeSantis is probably the worst one because he actually he actually says a lot of things that really scare me. He
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
think I mean
Hmm.
I indeed think he's a racist because he basically said black culture, black history shouldn't be taught because it's just not important. But he thinks Jewish history should be taught over everyone else's. So I think DeSantis is probably like the worst of all of them.
DeSantis is potentially the most dangerous, despite his lack of charisma,
Right.
because he is just like a little quieter Richard Spencer. He is
Yes.
just a little
DeSantis has
quieter
dropped
David
out. So has Nikki Haley, according to Politico.
I,
I mean, I'm going down the list. It's like the favorite, Donald Trump. Then we have the contenders. Chris Christie dropped out. Ron DeSantis dropped out. Nikki Haley dropped out. Mike Pence dropped out. Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out. Tim Scott dropped out. Ted Cruz ruled out.
I, I sort of, I want to ask something again. If you're registered to vote for the Democrats, for example, can you, when you go to vote, then vote for the other party?
Yes.
Or do you-
All registering
Okay.
does with the party is, in some states, decide whether or not you can vote in that primary. But you can vote for whoever you want. It doesn't matter who you're registered for.
I mean, they give me both parties, so I'm just gonna go uncommitted to the Democrats, and I just wrote in Mickey Mouse for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
I would check. I mean, I would check to see whether what do you call it? Your state has a open primary that lets you vote on both, because I know in some states they just have one primary ballot, but the parties in that state have the rule where you have to vote for either the one you're posted to or one or the other, and any ballots that vote for both are just disregarded.
No, too late. Yeah, because I see it right here. I have to make one party declaration on this box. I went to Democrats, and I declared that that's my party preference, the Democratic Party, and will not participate in the nomination process of the other political party for 2024. Fuck, I screwed it up. Hello, Marty Antonetti. How you been? DeSantis give Santos a bad name. I think you meant to say. Yeah. So I screwed up my ballot to vote for undeclared, uncommitted delegates.
Probably doesn't matter that much anyway.
Wait a minute. actually, they have how to correct that mistake. They do actually. I have to just draw a line through Mickey Mouse, just one line. Let's hope that works. I draw a line through Mickey Mouse. Screw you, Mickey Mouse. You're not
And-
going to be the Republican Party nominee.
And since the first of the year, you're actually allowed to, so long as it's the Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
That's right.
That
Mickey
is-
Mouse as Steamboat Willie is
Of
public
Steamboat
domain,
Willie.
but not the Disney Corporation.
You
Mickey
can
Mouse.
just draw him and then draw a line through it and then sell that product.
Finally, Mickey Mouse is publicly named, but only one specific version of him, and it's just like, well, of course, like, Disney would do that.
What happens when you regret who you voted for in the primaries? Is that just tough luck? Tough luck, or
Yeah, it's just tough luck. You're like committed to that vote once you make a vote.
yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, you can when the general comes along, you can
Yes.
always just vote for the other party.
Oh yeah, yeah. The party
Mhm.
declaration is only effective for like primaries, as it were, and really for like presidential primaries. And so like this is the one election in like March, and only happens every 4 years. Everyone voting for a PSL. I don't know if they again, so Marty. I only for Democrats it's only Joseph, Dean, and Mario Morrison. Probably PSL will be running their own candidates as well too in the general, which is like, and probably I will pick like whoever is the socialist on like my ballot for the president when it comes down to that, and any socialist that I see on my ballots as well too. But it's like. Hey, it's kind of yeah. But first, I hate talking about like voting with like liberals as well too. Like, hey, I love talking about like voting and like politics with like this group here, absolutely for sure. But it's just like with the first past the post and winner take all sort of things, it becomes the thing where it's just like you're kind of pressured, and for sure by liberals, you're pressured to like vote for the most electable one or the most likable one or the viable candidate as where if you felt third party,
Oh,
you're wasting your vote.
anyone who I can definitely see in because of the electoral system, uh, in a swing state, there's definitely some reason for voting strategically. I I don't think that I could ever feel right about voting third party in Wisconsin because Wisconsin is always up for grabs either way.
True. Yeah, that's true. Washington State, I mean, if
No,
like,
it's just
yeah, oh, no, he's always going for the Democrats. But
it just is.
but even in 2016, it went to Hillary Clinton. If 40 electorates did not vote for Hillary Clinton, they were faithless electors.
Hmm.
I just it's just so foreign to me voting in that way because I'm used to voting for whoever represents my politics the best. Um,
Yeah. A truly multi-party system without first past the post and with ranked choice and
no,
all of
it's
those other.
not.
Oh, you don't
It's
have
not
ranked
really.
choice?
It's not really ranked choice in my country. It's just you vote for a candidate, and then if the candidate doesn't get elected, the party gets the vote, so that they can sort of distribute it on
Ah.
the rest of the candidates because there's not. There's usually like 4 or 5 candidates on the. If it's a small party, there's maybe like 4 or 5. If it's a bigger party, there could be like 15 candidates up for election for our our parliament, and you don't actually vote for who becomes prime minister. That is something that is decided by parliament and by the parties who who win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that means you don't always have a choice in who gets the you don't vote directly for who becomes prime minister, and you and politicians have sort of certain places where they are like you can vote for them in certain regions of the country and not in others.
Hmm.
But that is to sort of ensure that more people from local places get representation in parliament. And I kind of like it that way, but I think we have maybe a bit too many parties at the moment. We have like 13,
Mm.
so that makes it a bit hard to actually do stuff.
Oh, I just remember another fun thing about we're going to have another election in August. That's the primary elections for all the other like positions that are running this year and next year, like Congress people, 2/3, 1/3 of the Senate, and then local elections. Like it depends on when it happens because it doesn't all happen at the same time. There's different like state governments and other state elections or local elections and stuff like that. And there's a primary process there too. And it's different in each state. In Washington State, it's the top two primary. So is whoever gets the top two votes in that primary will move on to the general. So it can be Democrat, or Republican, or Democrat third party. It's very possible. And then also, so we got another election this year. But the fun thing about is the primary process for the president. Well, some states do primaries. Simple, just check this box, vote, ballot, there we go, done. Others do caucuses.
And that's where you get a bunch of people in a room, and then they spend the day arguing, and there's food.
Yes. Yes.
I just remember that scene from Alice in Wonderland in the book where they have a caucus race that is a bunch of animals running around until they're dry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's an accurate description of what it's like being in the caucus as well too. It's like the worst form of debate club as well.
Yeah.
And at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday evening, and you have to be there in order to participate to vote. And so, you're not friendly to people working retail or can't get babysitters, and as typical of the USA election system, this is and you wonder, how is that democratic? I don't think it has been, honestly. Hey, whoever can peer pressure others the most as well too. Yeah, so what we're all saying is we don't live in democracy. Voting is pretty used in the United States since it's a corporate do operatively. And you live in the UK and you still can vote in Wisconsin. And, oh yeah, well I did figure that was the case as well, because back when I used to listen, I think it's you're probably still a USA citizen, correct, Marty? Or do you have to do citizenship as well? And welcome, and hello, Marty. It's been good to see you. It's nice to see you. Oh, and and thank the other patrons as well. So thank you, Edie. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Marty. Thank you to Mithril and the Fuckboys as well. And Von Rack as well. Let's not to forget Von Rack.
How's
Person.
Leto doing? Leto?
Later on, I think is doing pretty well, if I remember correctly. At least last time I heard from her.
Probably enjoying a married life.
Yeah, hopefully as well too, and hopefully that the French government is not being dicks to her and her hubby as well too.
Yeah.
First and only time I voted for Obama the first time around, never again. I learned my lesson. I thought voting for Bernie, but he's a compromising little tool bags on.
The Democrats and the Republicans. Do you want to vote for the long-term interests of the capitalists or the short-term interests of the capitalists?
That's pretty much it. I am a UK citizen, UK resident, but American citizen. Okay, I see. So you're on a green card in the UK as well too. You're an immigrant to the UK, yeah.
No. Marty's white, expat.
Right, expatriate. It's only when I start thinking wait a minute, why do we have another term for that? Expatriate. It's who do we say refer expatriate That's fair. That's fair money. Not taking oath to the king. Why would you want to do the King Charles too as well?
Isn't he half dead?
Yeah, he was got diagnosed with cancer as well too. I mean, so he did at least it's hey, I got this checked out and did some cautionary work. Just I'm at the age, got to get things checked out. Oh, look at that! We caught this early, so good reminder to you all to catch things early, which actually did that. like he just had a routine checkup. His doctor was like, "No, something. Let's get this like checked out. This one, it could be benign in his life, but it could be cancerous." And it's like, "Oh, wait, it's cancerous." Thankfully, they caught it early, and they did like a couple of months of chemo as well too. Was away from work for some time, but like is cancer free now, back working, and so it's like, yeah, and that's a good reminder for like early detection as well too. And he was up there in age, about like 49 or something like that. So yeah, he's a little older than me. King Sausage Fingers, yes. Okay. Chuck is now King Sausage Fingers. Yes.
God save our gracious king with homeopathy. He's such a dink. Look at his sausage hands. He's gonna die real soon of a massive heart attack. His mom killed his ex-wife. No, I don't actually believe that.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of think that, the Danish queen who just abdicated, she took one look at King Charles and thought, that is pathetic, old man. I better abdicate and let my son.
There's every reason to believe. There's every reason to believe based on how terrible what's the word for sensationalist journalism
Yellow?
Journal.
that follow
Tabloid?
celebrities around.
Tabloid,
Yeah.
yeah.
Paparazzi, that's it.
Yeah.
The way that paparazzi would hound her normally, the idea that they were just trying to get close and crashed their car in a tunnel accidentally is completely like that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they were relentless, because I remember sort of the time leading up to that, she was constantly in the media.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful about conspiracy theories because they're all false. Epstein did kill himself.
Yes.
And you can and the funny thing is you can like still you can not believe you can realize that he probably did kill himself and also think like they probably shouldn't have let him kill himself. That was bad on that prison. That prison did a bad job.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Never attribute to malignity when you can blame incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, you can even believe malignancy in that particular case, because there's people in prison can let the guards stop watching things. It's not difficult to imagine other powerful people from outside of prison can also do that.
And especially taking into account what Epstein was charged with. I think.
Yeah.
Loss of status can cause a huge crisis of personality and so on. Going from being rich and partying with powerful people and raping children to being in prison for all of that. Yeah.
But also people who have raped children are often sort of not very popular in prison.
Yes.
Everyone has standards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
that's
except
why
for Richard Dawkins.
Yeah. So that's why most of them are put into isolation to protect them from the general population in prisons, so that they don't get killed by the other inmates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you watch a documentary about Meghan and Harry, the president of the monarchy working hand in hand with each other, in that case, I can believe that because, like what you said, like the royal family has a history of like racism. They finally became less racist when like certain members of that royal family died, which is probably the only way that can be less racist, honestly. Like John B, I have Irish ancestry, so no taking an oath to like the king. Yep, fair, totally fair.
Yeah.
One thing that like people have been reacting to on social media that like was like happened not so long ago, like last week, the artist Akira Toriyama has like passed away at the age of
Oh.
62. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was still in the middle of like many other projects. He's most famous for doing character designs, and like he did the character designs for like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and he also apparently worked on
You're mispronouncing that. It's Dragon Ballsy.
Yeah.
Ballsy.
So
And don't forget, in Leave It to Beaver, his last name was Cleaver. He was the Beaver Cleaver.
Is that true?
Yeah.
The character's last name was Cleaver, yeah.
They never called him Beaver Cleaver on the show. And before you ask, it has been slang for that since the 1930s.
I'm gonna ask what a cleaver is, but I probably should.
It's a kitchen tool. You cut meat.
yes.
by by sort of smashing it with a knife.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
a kitchen machete.
It's a particularly heavy kitchen knife.
Yes.
Why is that like funny in a weird way though?
Because cleaving things means that you're going in, dividing, entering them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a dick joke.
And beaver is slang for
Pussy.
vulva. Yeah.
I'll put the pubic hair specifically, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Remember in the first Naked Gun movie when like Frank
Nice
Jones, like,
beaver.
Thanks. I just haven't stopped. I was glad I did not got that joke when I was like 13, was like 8 years old when I saw that movie and so like that. I was glad it wasn't until I was a well adult and I finally realized how filthy that joke was.
Yeah.
And he was a wholesome character too. Yes, his last name was like Cleaver, and he was like Beaver, and it's like so he was Beaver Cleaver, and it's just like
He was called the beaver because he had prominent front teeth. God, stop ruining things.
tail.
Well, I watched
There's a
Titanic the
cat
other
in the background eating. So
Okay. No. I saw a cattail going across like Joe McClure's camera.
Yeah, she ran by. Come back.
So
No,
I
she's
said,
not coming back.
so I said you saw Titanic last night. Of course you did.
Yeah, I watched it. I actually watched it high, so I could actually really like feel the music and everything swelling up. So I watched it like pretending like I was like on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm like flying, Jack.
Dad.
Yeah.
And I watched it on VHS too.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, via VHS and two like VHS tapes because like it's a long ass fucking movie.
And I also have other like stuff about old like antique ocean liners, like so I got that. I'm just unique. I've always like jumped. I don't think I'll ever find someone quite unique as me as a partner.
No, you'll be
Cat.
surprised. Cat. Yes. Joe is petting a cat.
Yeah, she's cute.
So yeah, Akira Toriyama died at 62. Well, still project in the works, and like, but also he did the character design for like Cloud Strife and like Final Fantasy VII. So like, his art is still immortalized in like those games. Final Fantasy VII, it's part of his own part of the franchise of Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy VII itself is its own franchise as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've realized this too. Yes.
Also
So
did
games.
the character design for Chrono Trigger
Yes.
and
Dragon
what was
Quest.
the other big one?
Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blue little slime from Dragon Quest is like still like iconic today and like seen all around in Japan and stuff like that. Even some other games in there were too. Like Blue Dragon was also a game that came out on the Xbox and like
Oh, I
far.
haven't thought about Blue Dragon in a while.
Yeah. Was it Xbox or Xbox 360? I think it was like 360. Yeah, it was like Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 pretty much only had like Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey as like RPG games or JRPG games. No, they had like a Skyrim.
And Mass Effect.
Damn Mass Effect, you're right. But also what happened, I believe, on Friday was International Women's Day, or the International when is International Men's Day? It's like there's is International Men's
It's
Day.
November 19th?
Yeah.
Something like that?
It's November. Yes.
Now, it's funny how it's November 19th. That's what that's kind of close to like Armistice Day, is it?
Is Armistice Day? That's November 11th, which is Veterans Day.
Yeah.
And then, but like the
Or no, I
day-
think it's
No,
November
it's
9th.
just Armistice Day.
okay.
What is Armistice Day?
End of World War One.
Yeah, that was the ceasefire.
Okay.
The 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, or something like that.
In my country, it's no, that's on the 10th. It's Saint Martin's Day, where we all eat goose because the guy didn't want to be a bishop, and he hid among geese and was found. Then he declared that all geese should be eaten on that day.
White people.
The fact that you agreed so quickly to it, Geek. I think that I should clarify that the November 11th is in fact Veterans Day. I was just saying that I don't celebrate Veterans Day.
Oh yeah.
Like it sounded like it's like, oh yeah, I accept that. It's like no, I'm full
Why
of shit.
not?
I just don't celebrate Veterans Day.
What about all the troops that died for your freedoms, Joe?
I mean,
No.
celebrate.
That's Memorial's Day.
I
That's
celebrate.
Memorial Day.
I celebrate the veterans by celebrating them not having to be in war anymore in Armistice Day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Because war is bad for people, particularly the soldiers.
Yes, exactly.
No, war is good because I'm watching it from my fluffy couch, and I'm watching the bombs on Fox News. So it's good for me because I'm not in it.
But I just
That's what something like I was watching like Piss Morgan one time, and he had Tommy Lauren on, and she was like, if we get invaded by Taiwan, I don't want a twerking drag queen to make that decision. And I'm like, Tommy,
What?
why does it fucking matter?
and don't threaten me with a good time. Honestly,
Why the fuck would Taiwan invade?
Is going to be invading people?
What?
They only exist because we keep them in. They're the Israel of Asia.
yes, Taiwan's Israel of Asia. That's more too.
Yeah,
It's-
Japan lost the love, so we have to give it to Taiwan.
it's-
Wait, is it Japan, Taiwan, or South Korea, or the Philippines? Which one? Who is the Israel of Asia in this scenario?
It's
Oh, yeah,
mostly
no.
Taiwan,
Mostly
because
Taiwan,
they're a small state that couldn't exist without our support.
Yeah, and it's like kind of part of China, and like definitely Taiwanese people want to be their own, and it's like there's a lot of nuance there, and I'm not well educated on that situation to like give an opinion one way or the other about that, but like if the people of Taiwan want to be like their own like sovereignty, I support the people of Taiwan because I generally in most movements I generally support the people.
Right.
There is an argument that South Korea is also that, but
Yes.
because of their economic power in the region,
Yeah.
I feel like unlike Israel, if North Korea were to try to invade them, they would probably get support outside of us. But
Mhm. And they have the funds to keep themselves
Yeah.
safe.
It's like China and Taiwan. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of this movie right here. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. Can't see, can you?
Losing Isaiah?
You guys?
No, never seen that.
Never seen it, never heard of it.
Never
No.
heard of it.
Well, it has my name in it, but
Oh.
So that's why you got it. It's like it's about you. What? We're losing me? I must watch this movie to see if it's a documentary of my future kidnapping or something.
losing me to a white woman.
That is.
That is a terrible nightmare for you, isn't it? As well, too. That's a precursor to Get Out.
Although, considering how I act and how John reminds me all the time, maybe it wasn't
Yes.
that bad.
Right. Hold on. Marty
I
said
mean,
this.
that's also why I picked up the Tom Hanks film so that I could be better versed if I were attacked by a volcano.
Joe and the volcano. Yes.
Joe versus the volcano.
versus-
Joe
Yes.
versus the volcano. I'm aware of that movie. That's a very silly movie.
It is.
So apparently there was a Wally Cleaver. Wally Cleaver would be the US SRS
Yeah,
surgeon.
Wally was Beaver's older brother. Oh, gee, Wally.
Okay. I see. What's going on over here?
For a bunch of like people who were homophobic back then, they definitely dressed really preppy, did they?
Well, that was just casual clothing.
Yeah.
You know,
The reason preppy people dress like that is because they're trying to look old-fashioned.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be Brad Pitt looked handsome as shit back when he was young.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to him.
Yep, he got the genetic lottery to be like one of those like just incredibly handsome people. Which, and I also think he does have like a good acting talents, which is why he's in Hollywood as well too. It does it.
Yeah, I got good genetics too, but that's just by design.
You were part of an intelligent design then, Isaiah?
It was so funny because back when he was in films just because he was pretty, he legitimately was not a good actor.
Yeah.
But over the years, he learned.
Yeah.
Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the movie where he and Angelina Jolie are playing assassins who don't know the other is also an assassin.
The plot of that movie makes no sense whatsoever.
It's a
It doesn't matter.
fun movie. But at one point, she's running away in a car. He's chasing after her carrying a handgun. And he slips into the neighbor's fence, sort of half crashes through it, and his gun goes off and hits the back windshield. The thing is, he was supposed to do like a dive roll through the neighbor's fence, which is why it broke so easily. And Brad Pitt actually slipped into the fence, and his gun fired, and he improvised the "Oh dear God," and so they added a shot of the bullet hitting the back window, and her looking furious because it was just so perfect.
How does Angelina Jolie manage not talking to her dad, who has completely lost his mind?
They've been she and her brother cut off contact with him decades ago.
Same way I managed to not talk to my uncles and aunts that have completely lost their mind.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's
same
not
way-
because he lost his mind that they cut off contact. I get the feeling that he was abusive in some way.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah, I can imagine.
my family, they just stopped talking to me because they were just like, Isaiah's just way too weird. He's too weird to be black. So we're not gonna talk to him. We're just gonna let him do his thing.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
It
yeah. Go ahead.
it is what it is.
Yes.
I found accepting people of all races. You, my extended family, and I guess that's the way it is. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. The found family is definitely an absolute thing. It's
I'm
true,
like,
very
I'm like
true.
Matilda. I'm like Matilda.
Yes.
I'm not-
Yes. It's like Tavi Wolf has like said before that like the her parents doesn't even know that she is trans because like she cut off contact with like most of her family, and it was well before she came out as trans. It was all because that she was disabled. Because she had a shouting match against her parents about like her disability and like some other ableist crap, and so it's like, yeah, that's why like I don't even know if she still talks to like her little sister as well too. But for the longest time, her little sister was the only family member that like she still talks to, and I wish I could escape my like ass button parents, and then finally my PT it could like heal. Yeah. Sorry to hear about Blue City. Because no, there's like some people are just like been. I have friends that like been thrown out, like kicked out by their family members as well too for being queer and trans. So that's definitely a thing. So how do people like cut off all contact with their family members? They just cut them out of their lives.
Yeah.
That's this guy's like, hey, blood is thicker than water. It's like, and actually, that saying it does not mean what you think it means. Actually, that's just short version of it. Long version of it's kind of more saying it's like, no, those who let spill my blood with me, whether or not their origins of where they come from, they are more family than like my real family. So yeah.
Here's the weird thing about about my mom. My mom and autism is with me. It's like, cause like before she died, I kind of like remember my mom actually do noticing that I may have had some of the tism,
Mm.
because she gave me, so unlike other parents who would give their kids like Superman or Spider-Man comic books, do you know what comic book my mom gave me? She gave me Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like now, and looking back at it now, Calvin has a lot of like coded autistic stuff going on with him.
Yeah.
Bill Watterson was trying to say that he has sort of an unfettered imagination.
Yeah. So
Um, and he's artistic. I don't know that he was written to be autistic. Um,
sure.
I think that a lot of that coding would just be because Watterson loved to throw really absurd language into Calvin's mouth.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to make autism like always like a centerpiece of when I try to make a point, but it's just like I kind of like know, I kind of think she kind of like knew that I was a bit different,
Hmm.
and she didn't have a problem with it because I guess I was also, so like I guess unlike a lot of other autistic kids, I was fairly well independent. I didn't need a lot of like support, I guess. So I
Mm.
think that's how it worked with my mom at least.
Mm.
Cause see, like my mom didn't have a problem with me playing with mostly girls. She didn't have a problem with that. My dad, on the other hand, kind of did. My mom didn't. So it just shows like
That's good.
how it just shows where like whenever like incels who are autistic join incel communities, I always gotta like ask, what was the family like that from where this person came from? Because if it was like the mother was more nourishing and the father was more of like an asshole, and like the father wanted to raise their son to be more like what they think a neurotypical man is supposed to be, I think that leads to a lot of autistic men who can't who don't fit that machismo narrative of manhood, especially like manhood from people of color. I think that's where they tend to fall into that incel trap because they don't fit the narrative of what the patriarchy um wants men to be, and that's what, and I'm glad Jesse Gender brought that up in some of her videos. Is her she her is she
Yeah, yeah, she, her. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
okay, she her, because like I think Jesse Jenner actually like talks about like the causes of why some men join those communities, from what, at least from what I get, as opposed to like other more feminist ones that just kind of just blame men for just being yeah, no, there are some feminists who are just like, men, men just suck, autistic men suck, and they're just bad, and there's that, and then but Jesse Jenner definitely like explained it a bit more clearly than I could understand. Anyway, I was ranting. Go ahead. I'm sorry. We're about to
uh,
end.
um, also, I had a friend with autism who was actually very sort of pro women
Mm-hmm.
before, the gaming channels that he watched started to talk about anti-feminism,
Mm-hmm.
and he got sort of swept into that, and I still don't understand what happened because before then he was very sort of pro women, and I don't know what happened exactly.
Well, and
Yeah.
also for me, I was also exposed around a lot of I grew up with women in my life a lot that took me in. So I think that kind of like really like gave me a really positive view on women. I mean, I had one before, but I think, women that, came into my life and helped me, they were mostly white women, so I guess there's that part. But I had, black women who came in there too, and was just, helped me. And I think that right there actually gave me a really better understanding of like women's issues. Not to speak for women, but to understand the world through, women growing up or or living their lives.
Yeah.
But so did the guy that I knew. He also had a very strong sort of female role model in his mother, who was a construction worker. And
Yeah,
I,
I guess in his situation, I guess he kind of felt. I mean, and I'll piggyback on some of that, Ellie. I think a lot of like modern social justice movements are very isolating towards a lot of people. I noticed this whenever I would like when I would like ever go to like BLM marches where whenever you would have like white folks who would be sympathetic, they would have a they would have a like a bit more like some of it just to me came off as like very fake and like
Mm.
very just like you would have black folks like protesting like over here, but then you would have like the white kids like trying to like instigate stuff with the cops when the black folks aren't
Mm.
trying to do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
I
so
definitely
like
agree
a
that
lot of social
like
groups,
that.
especially like I guess feminist social groups, can be isolating towards a lot of men even though men are trying to be allies with them, there's kind of this weird like isolating influence, and then I think a lot of men don't feel they have a place. Like they're trying to be allies. They're not trying to command the conversation. They're trying to like be allies, but they're not being allowed to even be allies. They're kind of just being like, yeah, thank you for your service, but can you just kind of just be over there in so many words? And I think a lot of men tend to like lose kind of that like camaraderie with their feminist counterparts, and then they'll it's kind of like, well, why am I here if I'm being sidelined to just be just a token men who supports feminism, and then why am I here? And then they'll end up kind of like, and then they end up reevaluating their whole social stances, and then they unfortunately fall into the right, and the right kind of gives them like answers about why things are the way they are. And since society tends to blame men for a lot of things, the alt-right says
Not
that
as much as they blame women.
I
I'm
was gonna say,
sorry.
uh,
I don't
Yeah.
know. Was I
uh,
rambling, and was I going off on tangents? I don't know.
Well, you are coming off on a tangent, but also I think it's like what the like if it's true that some of the men see themselves as allies to like to defend this cause or something like that. What's like what you have to remember about the allyship is not about the allies.
Yeah.
It's not about them. So like some men probably think that they're allies, but they think it's all about them being like one of the good ones. That and they're being called out for that. That's probably why they just then go down the right wing
I
rabbit.
mean, think about
and
Joss Whedon.
and also, like for every you have to imagine that the reaction to any given man there is also the reaction to uh, is influenced by what some of the other men did. And when five men in a row try to, take command of the voice because they are often given the
Hmm.
prominent place of speech, assuming that the sixth man who comes up isn't going to try the same isn't unreasonable.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, I understand why some people are like apprehensive to allow allies in. I'm just trying to say like see with us in the civil rights movement, it was never like white people are evil. We never said that.
Well, you
But I
should
feel
have.
Hmm.
like we weren't going to
But
get our rights, but
But it's just like I feel like it was the rhetoric and the jokes back then that sort of made it I think he initially felt, oh, it's just jokes, but then he started to believe it because it was repeated so often. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about that monster of a video someone put out the other day about Gamergate, where
That 6-hour video.
Yeah,
it's
I finally saw that in my recommendations today. I'm
yeah,
like,
and
ooh, 6 hours.
yeah,
That's rough. As
and
much as
there
I
are
would
some
like to see
points
it.
there are some points where she's teetering on the edge of victim blaming Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian in a way that I don't I can't really condone that, and especially because a lot of us sitting here had experienced sort of Gamergate, at least from the sidelines, and sort of, and I just can't. She condemns uh, Zoe Quinn for not completing certain projects during the time when she was harassed out of her home, and I kind of feel like that's a bit sort of uncharitable because
Yeah.
Zoe Quinn couldn't finish those projects because people wouldn't let her,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's like, so I don't wholeheartedly recommend watching that video because it will probably make you a bit mad if you were there.
Yeah, I could like go on about like my how I felt about Gamergate and my gamer. Yeah, but like
It was
I
about
already felt
ethics in video game journalism.
Shut up. Uh, and I can always like rehash it another time or maybe on my stream later today and stuff like
But
that.
we have
like,
gone past the 3:30 mark.
Yes.
One more thing before we wrap it up, and I'll
Sure.
stop talking. I seriously think I'm gonna probably win my local cosplay, like Comic Con convention contest with this cosplay that I'm doing.
I hope
think
you
I
do.
might- I think I might win.
Mhm.
Okay,
Alright.
I'll shut up.
Okay. Is that the cosplay of like you as the first African American like in space?
Yes.
No, I hope you do win.
The Blackstronaut.
Yes.
Yeah. No, well, Afronaut.
Nice.
No, that Afronaut is much better. Yes, exactly.
Oh, that would be an awesome name for an anime series.
Afro in space.
If that's not a manga, it should be as well too. So, speaking of Zaya Taylor, who's going to be like Afronaut at like a comic book convention like soon. You have like two YouTube channels, a Sinister Intelligence channel and like Autistic Modeling Society, and your own Instagram of Isaiah Taylor 60.
Yeah.
Isaiah.Taylor.60 or Isaiah.Taylor 60.
It's Isaiah Taylor 60, I believe.
Okay. Alright, yeah. Yeah, just like type in any number of those combinations that were, I'm sure eventually you find Isaiah Taylor with his pictures of his like cosplay and his models as well too. Joe, Ely, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, oh, go ahead, you first.
No, I mean, I haven't posted anything for a while to Blue Sky, but I still plan to post something soon again.
Okay.
It's my cat account.
Princess
I
Luna,
just
I
been
believe.
busy
Yes.
with real life, so I haven't posted as much.
Yeah, yep, real life, the kind of like does take precedent and like will suck up of your time. But yeah, Princess Luna on Blue Sky. So Joe?
The what do you call it? I had mentioned last time that I had commissioned a video thing for a building character of RoboCop, and it is finished, and you can watch the YouTube of it.
Nice.
I just posted it now.
Nice. All right. And I'm Summer and Geek. Summer and Geek on Twitter. I'm still going on Twitter. Co-host Tumblr, Blue Sky, and not on Facebook, but like you can find me on Facebook, Jonathan Scott, if you want to.
Welcome back
But
to
I'm
Golden
also
Character, where we figure out-
Summer and Geek on YouTube and Twitch, and I'll be like doing a stream later on.
Belly.
I'm kind of. Like,
Oh, and
bored.
remember, they changed the name of Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore. It's Nazi Land.
It's
Nazi land.
Yes, it is not too late.
It's the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yes.
It's like if Argentina and South Africa had a baby.
That's a really shitty image, by the way.
Well, especially knowing the history of South Africa and Argentina as well too. Argentina with their dictatorship, South Africa with the apartheid,
Argentina with its Nazis.
yes, with the Nazis exactly,
And South Africa with its Nazis.
yes. So I don't know what I'm gonna be. I might be streaming Fortnite. Since that's the new season is out. I might switch to like Stardew Valley. I want to try to raise money for like Phoenix to get their internet to bill taken care of before tomorrow, before their internet does shut off. So it's like I don't know if the Fortnite would be the way to do it, or Stardew Valley would be the way to do it. I don't know. Either way, who knows? But I'll decide what I'll be streaming, and I'll be streaming that on as soon as I get off this call. But John Bruckman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Dungeons and Debacles. Very different. Quite fun. We're playing cops. Which is why I want to kill off my gruff cop character and make a cat bard.
Yeah, but not it's just a cat.
Yes, not a tabaxi. A cat. Oh, we lost Joe. All right. But with that, I will go ahead and shut it off. And remember, everybody, stay safe. And if you see somebody shoplifting, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And hydrate.